Hello and welcome to Tea Talk Real Talk, Conversations Over Tea. I am happy to have some wonderful guests today. We're going to be talking about the New Jersey Sharing Network, and we have three wonderful guests. We have Tracy, Terry, and Mark. They are all volunteers from the New Jersey Sharing Network, and we're going to be talking about kidneys and some other things in terms of people, being able to share their wealth, I guess you could say, for people that need it.
Right. It's a gift of life.
Yes, there you go. Well said. So Tracy is a very good friend of mine, and we're entrepreneurs, and she's a wonderful lady. We met, many years ago. And the passion that I have about, the topic today is, my aunt also had kidney problems. And my aunt never was able to have children, so my mother's three children were basically like her three children. But for years and years, she suffered with kidney problems. She even had a transplant, and her body totally rejected, and she thought she was going to die and said, "I will never do this again," and she didn't. But of course, as time goes on, it was like over 15 years, maybe even 20 years of her suffering. And it was such a hard thing when we ended up losing her. So when I met you and I know that you had the same thing, I was like, wow, that's a lot. And then you have your children and you're a single parent, and then you're trying to do a business. I was like, wow, I thought that was awesome and a lot of strength to do something like that. So I really admired you. So, kind of just tell us about your journey and then how you met these two wonderful people here. And so we can just know, what's the importance of this new network that you're part of.
In 2007, my husband passed away in a fatal car accident. And a year after that, I found out that I had kidney cancer, and then I also had end-stage renal disease.
Wow.
And I was put on dialysis immediately. They removed my right kidney. Thankfully, that it was in the first stage. It was less than a centimeter. The size was less than 1 centimeter. And I didn't need chemo, thank God for that. Then for 5 years, I was on dialysis. I had my good days and bad days. The first 2 years, I was in and out of the hospital. Probably the total of the 24 months, I must have been in the hospital like 15 times, either through infection, pneumonia, gallbladder issues, you name it, I had it. Then thankfully, my son, he was an exact match, but we participated in the exchange program where he put one in the pot, and then I got one in exchange. And it's funny because it was exact match. So he gave it to the wife and the husband gave to me. I haven't yet, and I'm praying that I can meet my kidney family soon. But I thank them and my son for, again, like I said, it is actually a gift of life. And I was telling Terry and Mark, yesterday I was running around with my daughter who's 15 years old, and we were going here, we were going there, and I just thought that the year prior I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I relished each moment, each laugh. It's
good for you.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, and because of the fact that I'm so grateful, I want to share that celebration with everybody. I'm having a luncheon gala on May 4th in Whippany, New Jersey, where I will be celebrating the gift of life. It will be almost a year. I had my kidney transplant on May 21st. Then it's May 4th. And again, it's the celebration of life. My son doesn't know this, and I don't have to worry about him listening to the tape because he's not getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I want to acknowledge him, and I'm hoping that my kidney family will be present. They might surprise me, I hope. And then also to bring the awareness of living organ donation, but not excluding organ donation in general, because regardless if it's living or deceased, it's still a gift of life.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
Beautiful story.
I can't say enough.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, and then for the, I forgot, the New Jersey Sharon Network, it's funny because I didn't even think about being a volunteer until I read Terry and Mark's bio. And they were certified with Donate Alive. They were certified with, I think, the Heart Association, and then the Sharon Network. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, I want one. I want to do that too.
I want one of those. Right.
And then I
Absolutely.
called
Thank you.
Leonard, well, I emailed him, and then he told me, you know what, great timing, because
You're welcome.
they had their second
Conference.
conference,
Volunteer
volunteer conference,
Nice.
where I was required to take like 2 breakout sessions just to get certified. So I say I'm unofficially the trained volunteer because I have to wait for the background check, but
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
clean.
Yeah,
Nothing's wrong.
Wow.
And then I could go out and share my story, and I'm
Right.
hoping that I will be able to move someone. And like they kept on repeatedly say during the whole conference, it's not that they're trying to push people to donate, regardless live or deceased, but just give them the knowledge, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think
Right.
that all you have to do is check off your license. Does the person, their wishes, are they going, does the loved one know what
Right.
the wishes are?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's another thing that I want to share
Right.
with people.
And it's a good conversation to have with your family. A lot of us
Must.
don't. Well, a lot of us don't
Must.
even plan for our death, which we are at some point. You know, sometimes it's sudden, sometimes it's not. But that's really a serious thing that we need to really talk about and see. Maybe someone does want to give, but nobody has ever spoken about it.
Right.
And they've never, thought to put it down on paper.
Right.
So, yeah, so let us know your story in terms of how you, got to be in the New Jersey Sharing Network and, what it is that you...
Well, I start with the fact that I usually start our speaking together, and we get in front of nurses, we get in front of children in school who are going to sign their license, and basically we look at the audience and say, we are Terry and Mark Meade. One of us had a heart transplant,
Wow.
and I bet you can't tell which one.
Wow. Nope.
And it was me.
Okay.
In June 4th of 2008,
Wow.
I got very lucky. And Terry is my caregiver, and my wife will be married 49 years
Oh
in
my
May.
God.
And we have been,
That's nice.
and we're still boyfriend and girlfriend.
There you go. That's why
really
you've been
sweet.
married for 49 years. Wonderful.
And the story is, like you said, we're very lucky. I had my first heart attack in 1987 when I was 43 years old. I had a minor heart attack after that, and in 2005, Terry and I were out in California on a business trip, and the first day there, I suffered a heart attack,
Wow.
the big one.
the big one.
Wow. Oh my God.
And at one point, I wound up in an induced coma. So Terry has to tell you about the next 6 days, and then we'll bring you up to date from that.
Wow.
Well, we're 3,000 miles away from home. I'm alone, and he's dying.
Ooh.
And they rushed him to a heart facility outside of San Francisco because the community hospital we were in was not prepared to
Right,
deal with it.
Oh my God.
What we didn't know is in the transport, which we were following behind, he had a cardiac arrest
Oh my
in
God.
the rig, and they kept him alive just to get him into that building.
Right.
They performed emergency bypass, and at that point they told me it's 50-50
Wow.
if he's going to come out of it. It was 6 days of total agony, and there was a guest house on the grounds of this hospital, and they let me stay there. And every morning I would go up before the shift change just to check and see what was going on. And I had been there, came back down to have some breakfast, and the phone rang in my room, which was a direct phone to the CCU. And they said, "We think you might want to come back up." And I said, "Is everything okay?" Yeah, but you need to come back up. So I
Yeah.
trudged up the hill and walked into the room. His eyes were open.
Oh.
They had extubated him.
Wow.
And he looked at me and he said, "I don't know who you are,
Oh
but
my
I think
God.
I love you."
Oh, that is so
It happened to be on her birthday.
And it
too.
was my birthday.
Oh my God,
So-
that's such a
sweet.
gift. That must be the best and most memorable gift in your entire life.
Right.
Wow.
So it
What a
went on
blessing.
for about 6 weeks because we couldn't fly home
Right.
until
Wow.
he was stable enough, and they worry
Right.
about blood clots and airplanes.
And that must be so difficult being away from home for so long in a strange place, and it's like
Without question, but I'm going to tell you just as an aside, people are unbelievably great. They took care of Terry, they took care of me. It was as if we were part of their family.
Nice.
And the fact that we were that far away,
Right.
they looked out for us.
that's wonderful.
And we can't say enough about
Right.
the people at Sequoia Hospital in
Very
Redwood
nice.
City.
So we did ultimately get home, and from that point on, it was downhill. Even though he had new arteries,
Right.
the heart is a muscle, and the pumping mechanism was
Right.
basically shot.
Oh.
So it was a pacemaker, defibrillator. It was ambulance rides in the middle of the night to Princeton Hospital.
Oh, boy.
And in 2008, during the Super Bowl,
Oh, boy.
he was at Robert Wood Johnson in New Brunswick, and his beloved Giants, he's been a season ticket holder for 49 years.
Oh my God! Wow.
They're in the Super Bowl, and they won, but the next day, we had to make the decision to get him to a facility
Right.
where we could get him a transplant,
Wow.
because that was all that was left. He was in end-stage congestive heart failure.
Wow.
Amazing, right? That's why
Yes.
there's a smile on my face.
I know.
Really.
I know. It's
You
so,
know.
and we all take every little thing for granted.
Absolutely.
Our sight, our hearing, our taste, all those things are important. Your heart, all these things are so important, and we just take it for granted. And
Yeah.
just some of us, we don't do what we're supposed to do. We do things that are excessively wrong for ourselves,
Totally.
and not, So this is wonderful, and it really kind of slaps me in my face too, because I'm not always doing the right things either for my body to be healthy.
Well, the truth is, nobody really expects any of this to happen,
Right.
and we didn't know anything about it until it did hit us
Right.
in the face.
Right.
And then we were lucky enough to have doctors here in New Jersey who said, we've gone as far as we can go. You need to see a specialist, and recommended us to a doctor in Philadelphia. And we were in and out of Philadelphia for about a year until one visit they said, you can't go home anymore.
Wow.
And we lived in the hospital, in Hahnemann Hospital, for 4 months.
On machines,
On
keeping him
machines.
alive.
And I was not allowed out of bed. And we waited, and we waited. And we were, at one point the surgeon came in and said, we're not going to let you wait anymore because your other organs are okay. We can't take a chance that they're going to fail. So you're going to get an LVAD, which is a left ventricular assist device, a pump that they call a bridge to transplant. 6 hours before we were scheduled for the surgery, and I say we because we went through it together.
Yes.
6 hours before they found a heart, they came in and said, we were offered a
What a
heart.
blessing
Oh my
that
God.
was.
Isn't that amazing?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, we're
amazing.
still, I'm shaking now
It
as we
is
talk
like
about it.
you don't think, just like you don't think that this could happen to you in a bad way. You can't, you can't even imagine that such a blessing can come to you like 6 hours before you're ready for surgery.
Right.
Other,
Oh my God.
other transplant recipients had shared with us
Oh my
that
God.
when they opened their eyes after surgery, they knew immediately that they felt better. And that was a lot of pressure.
Right.
But when I approached the surgical ICU after the surgery was over, and I looked across at the bed, he was pink. He had not been pink.
Okay.
He was warm. He had not been warm.
Wow. Wow.
And he relays the story that
Okay.
he knew the moment he opened his
Wow.
eyes that
I know
he was
Yeah.
better.
Wonderful.
And it's
Wonderful.
amazing, there was not a painkiller. I had no pain. I guess they went in the same incision that they did
Yes,
for the
Right.
zipper.
Okay.
So we're able to make jokes. We like to talk about it. We do everything we can to pay it forward as
Right.
the word
Right.
goes.
Right.
It's important. People did it for us. They came to our room. As soon as they found out we were listed for a transplant, one after the other. A woman came from her room and said 3 days ago or 2 days ago, I had mine. And I looked up and go, you had heart transplant
Wow.
2 days ago?
Wow.
So that gives you...
The next day,
Oh.
he was sitting up eating a turkey sandwich. The next day.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
So it's
believe
very
it.
important that people are aware of organ donation
Yes.
and what it
Yeah.
can do.
Exactly.
There are, statistically, there are 18 people a day that die waiting for an organ. There are 120,000 people in this country,
Right
give or
now.
take, that
Right
are
now
waiting
waiting.
for
Wow.
an organ.
Wow.
They only do 2,000 heart transplants a year in this country.
Wow, that's not-
Somehow I
Wow,
got one.
that's not a lot
Not
compared to the amount of
lot.
people
That are
in the
waiting.
world. And what's the
Right.
1%? The 1% is in New Jersey, only 1% of people that pass away,
Or
they
could be
donate
donate.
their.
Right,
Okay.
can be
Com-
considered for,
Right.
Really?
yeah.
We're 42nd in the states as far as
40
organ donation listing.
Wow.
People saying they signed their license.
Right.
We have a
But-
lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But even with that, there's only that 1%, and I'm
Right.
not sure if that's the exact number. I
Right.
don't want to give wrong numbers, that are eligible to donate.
To ultimately
Right, because there's
become a
certain things
donor.
that, you know,
Criteria
makes you,
that,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a lot about education.
Right, it is.
And through the New Jersey Sharing Network, we have been certified
Okay.
as volunteers,
Like
as,
Tracy.
as Tracy has recently done. And we reach out and share our story to raise awareness
Okay.
and provide this education to
Okay.
people to dispel the myths
Right.
about it,
Exactly.
for them to see,
Right. Yeah.
you
Proof in
know,
the
living,
pudding.
right.
right,
The best is speaking with nurses.
Right.
You know, most of the people that are in these facilities, hospitals, et cetera, they don't really come in contact with transplant.
Right.
They come in contact knowing there was a death in the hospital, and they report it to New Jersey
Okay.
Sharing Network.
Right.
But now New Jersey Sharing Network sends us out to these hospitals to talk to nurses
Okay.
who get to see the end result.
Right. Right.
And we can't praise them enough for what
Right.
they've done, as
Right.
you
Right.
know.
That was going to be my
Definitely.
that was going to be my question, was how do you get out there? You know, is that on your own or is it through the network?
No,
that
it's
they
through
find
the
the
network,
places. And,
yes.
and, okay,
Through the
wonderful.
network.
through the network, they send emails
Okay.
to certified volunteers, and we
Right.
also have a Donate Life Mercer group
Okay, nice.
that we're part of
Okay.
to do local Princeton Hospital. We
Right.
do frequently, we're part of the High School Heroes
Right.
program.
Okay, nice.
We go out and speak to the
Right.
sophomores who are
Right.
taking driver's ed.
Okay, nice.
It's very
It
important
is.
to catch them.
Everyone needs to know, because you know what? At that age, if a parent knows that their child, just, you know, you don't want to ever think that, but
Right.
God forbid anything happens to their child, that child was educated enough to say, you know what, I think I want to do this.
Right.
And then the parent can respect it or not.
And
Those,
that's-
those
So
are some
that's-
of our best talks
Yes.
with the
The
children.
children, of course.
Because we're grandparents.
Yes.
We have 3 grandsons
Yes.
who are approaching that age soon. And they actually went through the whole transplant process with us
Right.
and gained a lot of knowledge about it. And they take grandpa to school for show and tell
I love it. I love it.
when they're studying health.
Right.
We just completed the Gift of Life Donor Dash this weekend with
What
our
was that?
team. It's a walk in Philadelphia at the Art Museum,
Okay. Right.
and it's again raising funds
Raising
and awareness.
funds. Okay.
And on June 8th, up in New Providence at the New Jersey Sharing Network facility, we will be having our 5K
Okay.
walk and run.
Nice.
And if anybody wants more information,
Yes.
just go to NewJerseySharingNetwork.org
Okay.
and sign up and come walk with us.
Right.
It's a fabulous,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
inspirational,
Yes.
but yet it's a fun day.
It is. And then, you know, this is so really, it's really critical. People don't realize that dead or alive, you can save someone's life.
Right.
Don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them
Right.
here.
Right.
Wonderful.
I
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh. Now, is that
like
your
that.
saying?
Oh, no. No, it's on a magnet.
Oh, is it? Okay, but that's wonderful.
Isn't that
It's a
great?
wonderful, yes. Great
One of
philosophy.
the women who came up to do the stone dedication
oh.
during the conference, they asked anybody who wants to dedicate or say anything about their donor or recipient, the family. And this one woman, she said that her son at 17 told her that he wanted to be a donor. I don't know if he did the New Jersey Hero Act or. But at 19, and it's really ironic because he was going to his friend's funeral,
Yes.
and unfortunately he got in a car
he was
crash
killed.
and he was
Kidding.
killed.
Oh, my God.
But she said that she knew what he wanted.
Right.
Because some people, when they're at that particular point, they don't know what the wishes are.
Right.
Right.
That's why I say it's
So
important.
she
Talk about
knew, and she felt relieved
Mhm.
that she did what her son wanted,
Right.
and it was just less anxiety that she had to deal with during
Right.
that time.
Right, right. But it's
They've
so-
taught us in the High School Heroes program, when we tell them our story, we make sure to let them know let your family know your wishes.
Right.
Don't
Yes.
not talk to your family
Right,
about it.
right.
And young people grasp things a lot quicker than
Right.
some of us that are a
Right,
little older
right.
now.
And I'm sure that with you guys going out to the schools, the children are probably going to go and talk to their parents about it.
We would
which
hope
is
so.
great,
We hope so.
you know?
We would hope so.
We hope
Yeah.
so, but it's very powerful.
It is.
After spending a whole day, like the last time we did it, we had 5 classes, 40 minutes each. We reached 200 students
Oh, wow.
in that day who shared some stories back with us. And to see them at the end of the day, all proudly wearing their green bracelets,
Nice.
which starts conversations among
Yes.
their other friends.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, can those be purchased online?
uh,
Or that's just part of the program?
I don't know about purchase,
Oh.
but
No,
I think
believe
that
that
they
distribute them
they-
at
Okay.
when we do tabling events
right.
and wherever we are. We usually have green bracelets
Right,
to
okay.
give out.
Yeah.
yeah, because
That
they
would be a great donation.
when I notified them about obtaining a speaker at the event, and they gave me brochures, they gave me hats,
Yes.
they gave me bracelets, they gave me pins.
Right.
So I think that probably this is-
Actually, Lenard just handed me some bags of small Donate Life pins, and
Okay.
I'll share with your
Yes,
audience
yes,
something
please.
that's very exciting and
Yes.
related to this whole thing. I have been asked to become a contestant in the Miss Senior New Jersey America
Oh my
pageant
God.
this year.
Well, you can see why.
Gorgeous.
She
She is. Thank you. I'm
That's
honored to have
exciting.
been selected to do
Wow.
this, and they only choose 12 in the whole state.
Wow.
But the reason I'm doing it is to have a much larger arena
To
to
talk
share
about it.
this story
Yes.
and get the word out
Right.
there. And I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
And the New Jersey Sharing Network is behind me in this
Nice.
effort, and I'll do them proud.
Yes,
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 you will,
you will.
definitely.
You will. You're beautiful, and the experience, really helps you as well.
Yeah.
That's
So that's the
Great.
reason I chose to
Yeah.
do this.
So I'll throw one more out at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the irony of life. In 1966, 1967, we lived in Brooklyn.
I lived
You
in
could
Brooklyn.
tell.
Waiting for
Where
you.
in Brooklyn? I used to live in
In
Brooklyn.
Borough Park.
Borough Park.
Okay.
Okay. Terry worked at Maimonides Hospital. She worked for the doctor who did the first heart transplant in this country
Wow.
after Dr. Barnard did his in South Africa. And here she is 40 years later at the side of my bed saying, I typed the paperwork for all of these
Wow.
machines.
Isn't that something?
He invented the heart-lung
Right.
machine,
Wow.
the LVAD, the aortic balloon pump,
Wow.
all of that.
Wow.
And I was there during
Could
that
you imagine?
time. But you file it away,
Yes.
you move on with life.
Right.
And then they come into his room and they say, well, he needs to have the aortic balloon pump. And I went,
I know that.
Right.
it's the first time in 40
Something.
years I heard that word,
Yeah.
those words.
Wow.
So we feel very good doing what we're doing.
Right.
Even today, this is great. We're
Yes.
thrilled
This
that you
is-
invited
yes,
us
yes,
here to
thank
do
you.
this.
Definitely.
It's very important that we bring the message, as
Yes.
Tracy knows, so that
Yes.
other people will think about donating their organs.
And
Otherwise,
tissues.
I'm not here.
And
Right.
tissues.
Yes. Yeah, and tissues.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
very important.
Yeah, because I was part of the junior league, and one of our issues that we were trying to work on is the blood bank, so that mothers can give the umbilical
Cord
cord.
blood.
So that's also something that people can do because it
Right.
helps in research.
Oh, sure.
To just make everyone better.
Sure.
So yeah, all these things are not really talking about as much as it should be. So
and people
we have
think
to
I'm
put the
too
work in.
old to donate.
Never, yeah,
no,
you're never
no,
too
no.
old. I mean,
They-
you have people that are young. Like my aunt, it was actually like a young person. I think, I don't know the exact age, but I know the person was probably under 16. So,
Wow.
I don't know. And then my aunt
Yeah.
at that time, I'm trying to remember how old she was at the time. I was 45 or something. I can't remember exactly. So I don't know if the age matters or not, but at least she tried.
We,
Let
we
the-
don't
let
know.
the-
So-
We don't know anything about our donor.
right.
We do write anonymously through the Gift of Life donor
Okay.
program because they were the ones that did. Because we were in Philadelphia,
Right.
they did the matching,
Right.
and we write these extraordinary pieces of literature
Right. Okay.
and send cards.
Right. That's wonderful.
But we've heard nothing back.
It's probably difficult.
We
for them.
understand
Yeah,
that
It's gotta be
exactly.
difficult.
Yeah.
it is,
Gotta
but it
be
would be
difficult.
nice.
Right, I know it
to
is
fill
nice
in the
because something
blanks.
like that actually has saved your life. You want to reach out to that
Right,
person
of course.
Yeah.
and say thank you. So
Right.
that I'm sure they know that you appreciate it, but it's nothing like saying to them, "Wow, thank you."
Well, New Jersey Sharing Networks Walk has, when we were there last year, they have a section for donor families, donors and donor families. And Terry and I walk around because we don't know our donor, and we adopt every donor family.
Yes,
and
they
adopt
adopt
us.
Nice.
It was just the most amazing
Wow.
experience that day.
Wow.
It touched us so to be with all of these donor
Right.
families.
You know, it's very easy to be the
Right.
recipient.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
exactly, yeah,
I
right.
know, of course. Who's going to say no?
You know, but I can't imagine a donor family
Yeah.
what they
They're
go
the
through.
heroes.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
They are the
Truly.
heroes.
Yeah.
Truly they are.
They definitely are. Now, when did you say you said there were 2 events coming up? I'm going to see. I mean, I'm always going to a lot of events. As a matter of fact, I'm part of another organization doing a walk in May. But when were the other 2 functions?
Well, your event is
It's
May.
May 4th.
May 4th.
May
and-
4th.
And
then-
the walk is June 8th.
June 8th.
Is that a
Okay.
Saturday or Sunday? Is it
It's
Saturday?
good question. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Well,
I
okay, I
think
was
it's a
just
Sun-
wondering.
Okay.
Well,
Well, the
We'll find
pageant
out.
is June 5th.
Okay.
That's a Thursday. Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday.
All right, great, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
It
definitely-
draws an enormous amount of traffic and people, so that's why they do
Right.
it on a
Well,
Sunday
I'll
up there.
advertise it on my social media.
Oh,
I
that's
I
great.
like to always, anything that's going to help and benefit others,
Mhm.
I'm always for it, pushing it out.
Terry uses her Facebook accounts
Yes.
for
so do
that.
I. Yes.
Yes.
To,
All
to
my social
let
media.
the world know.
That's what
Yes.
I do.
yeah.
I
I started doing
mentor
that as
other
well.
people who are in
Yes.
the same situation
Yeah.
that we were.
Right.
You know, back all those, well, it'll be 6 years on June 4th. We had no support other than our immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
There were very few people in that world with us to share,
Right.
to be able to communicate with somebody who had been there.
Right.
So I'm trying to make up for that
Right,
now and
I
being
know.
there for those
Yeah.
who need the support
Yeah.
now, sharing, you know, what we experienced.
Right. And to give them hope,
Hope,
Right.
as well.
right.
You understand.
Definitely.
Not saying that you don't.
Yes.
Luckily,
No,
you
no,
haven't been in
yes.
this situation.
Right,
Right.
I haven't, but like I said, my aunt has, and that's
Yes.
like
Yes. There
living
you
it
go.
because I, you know, on the weekends, every weekend coming from here, she was in Mount Vernon, and so my daughter and I, like the last 6 months, every weekend we're out there to help her because she's been stuck in the hospital and she didn't have children, you know, so it's like
Right.
to see her like that, it was just. You know, and then she was unconscious the last time before she passed away the next day, and
Wow.
I was just like,
Wow.
this is like my second mother. You know, it's my mom's sister, and it was just heart-wrenching. You know, she couldn't have the kids, and then she had this, you know, this disease, and it was just like heart-wrenching. So that's why Tracy, you know, my good friend here, I admired her so much. You know, the strength and all that she had to do
It's
what
not a
she
walk.
does.
A transplant is not a walk in the
Yeah,
park.
yeah,
You know,
no, it's
we're-
not.
they're here. They look beautiful
Yes.
and healthy,
Yeah.
but you know, there's a lot that goes
Yes.
along with it. The
Yeah.
medications,
Yes.
post-transplant. You know, he
And
takes
gaining like 30, 40 pounds.
Right.
Well, that
that's
when
the
they take
least
you off the
right,
word.
I know.
You know, he takes 17 different medications a
Yes,
day, plus
yes.
4 shots of insulin.
Wow,
You know, he's
yeah.
Wow.
insulin-dependent
It's a lot.
diabetic. You know,
Nobody knows behind the scenes, right?
Of
Exactly.
course not. We all have a story,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, they told
Yeah.
us what you're doing is you're trading one big problem
Yeah.
for lots
For just
Other
a
little
little
ones.
one.
little
Right,
ones. And if you
right.
can call cancer a little one,
Right.
you know, he's had 3 cancers since the
Oh, my
transplant.
God, wow.
But we deal with things.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a heart transplant didn't bring us down, and neither will cancer.
Right.
Nothing.
That's right.
No,
That's
we,
right.
you know,
Have faith,
come on, bring
courage,
it. We
you
can
have
deal.
to, yes.
We'll deal.
Yeah.
So as long as we're having a conversation, again, the only thing we can say, and I'm sure Tracy feels the same way, is the people behind the scenes, the doctors, the nurses, the orderlies, anybody that was in
The
that hospital,
transplant coordinators.
the transplant coordinators, the transport people,
Right.
they all have an unbelievable ability
Yes.
to understand the situation you're going through
Right.
and make it as comfortable for you as they can.
Exactly.
I can't praise any of them more than I don't know how much to
Right.
praise them.
Right.
And I want them all to know that.
Yes.
And we do tell that as soon as we're in a hospital, we let them know.
You know, recently we spoke at Princeton Hospital
Okay.
to all the nurse managers. Now, that being our home hospital, they saved his life
Okay.
many, many times.
Many.
And when we completed that talk and we went to visit the cardiac rehab and CCU, and they looked at us and they go, "We remember you." They didn't think he was going to survive, and here we are.
Yeah.
Most of them don't remember me because I'm,
Right.
Yeah.
go like that.
And
Right.
no color.
Yeah.
you know, as long as I'm lying down, they remember me, right, and pale.
Yeah.
So
So-
it feels good, you know,
Right.
to get that reaction. Like,
Wonderful.
You helped. I
Wonderful.
mean, you
Yes.
because
Right.
of what
Yes.
you did.
Right.
There he is.
And I'm sorry that, time has flown by.
Oh,
I can't
it
believe it's
does.
like, almost 30 minutes already. So we're going to wrap it up. So, I just want everyone to know that the New Jersey Sharing Network, please go and check it out online and donate, or have that conversation with your families about, giving a gift to someone's life, whether they're dead or alive. So again, thank you so much, and stay tuned for Tea Talk, Real Talk. It was a blessing having these wonderful folks here, and I thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Very much.
Thank you.